Okay, welcome again, replay viewers. And after our first false start, we'll try again with part 2 of some short coverage of the young people's sailboat races here on Moriches Bay today. So they have a regatta going on, and there are several classes of boats sailing right now on 2 different courses. Hi. Yeah, these are the kids, Kathleen, the young people. I'm going to say from age to 16, generally speaking. I started to describe the small boats that are out there now, these Optimums, or Opties as they're called. It's an 8-foot pram, fiberglass pram, that's basically unsinkable because of its flotation, and it has a little cat rig sail. So the younger kids sail those boats. They learn on those boats. By younger, I'm saying 8 years old, 9, 10 years old. And then they graduate, the kids as they get older, they graduate to the larger sloops, sailboats, which are basically 420s, 16-foot or possibly 17-foot boat with mainsail and a jib. And I also see out there what I used to call lightnings or lightning twos, single-handed sailing. They're usually handled by the older teenagers. But this is a regatta where kids are invited from all surrounding yacht clubs here on Long Island. And these races are being held right now in Moriches Bay here in Center Moriches. Nice, good breeze this afternoon out of the southwest, so conditions are perfect for the kids to be out there sailing. I see some interesting courses laid out here. Try to figure out what it is. Oh, okay, it looks like they're doing a racetrack course here. Upwind, downwind. The little boats, the Opties, are coming back now in our direction, out of the southwest. They're heading northeast, so they have the wind behind them, so they have their sails out full and coming downwind. I don't think there's a triangle course set up right now. It doesn't look like it. Although I'll have to see the larger boats, how they're sailing off to the right of us. They may be on a port triangle course because they're more experienced sailors. I think they try to keep the 2 fleets, obviously keep them separated, so the little kids don't end up in the middle of the race course where the bigger and the older kids are. Pretty interesting though. The conditions are just perfect right now. Wind is about 10 to 12 miles an hour. Any higher than that, I don't think they'd have the little kids out there in their small boats. Looks like we got quite a few of the sailing instructors on duty in the club power boats. And you have, usually you have parent volunteers that go out in their own power boats to monitor the race course in case any child gets in trouble or anything like that. But it's a pretty safe sport though, for sure. But this is a good sized fleet that's here today. Moriches Yacht Club, as far as I know, they don't have that many Optimums here. Maybe so. This is obviously invitational from other yacht squadrons, maybe West Hampton, 1 or 2 others. Yeah, they're just rounding a mark out here, and it looks like they're just sailing upwind and downwind. So they're doing a port racetrack course. And then I guess the final leg they'll sail all the way downwind across the what was the start line, but will become the finish line. If I look out right out here, this looks like the committee boat and the finish line for the Optimum class. But this is all speculation on my part. I don't have inside track information here for this, but that's what it looks like right now. Meanwhile, off in the distance, we see the 420 fleet. Yeah, I believe they do, yes. Yeah, it's down at the south end of the village of Bellport. Or it was there years ago. I mean, I haven't been a member of the yacht club in many, many years, but I remember when my daughter was sailing Sunfish quite a long time ago. We used to go to regattas there in Bellport Bay from the Bellport Yacht Club. We'd take the boats over there on a trailer. So I'm sure they still have a yacht club there. Now, if I can hold this steady, because I don't have a gimbal for my iPhone yet, but that's something on the wish list to think about purchasing. But I'm looking at the fleet that's racing off to the right side of the area here, and they're now coming downwind, and most, if not all of them, are flying their spinnakers. So you can see the colorful sails that catch the wind from behind the boat. Use it for downwind racing, downwind sailing. So these are pretty experienced young people out there sailing in that fleet, because they can handle the spinnaker, which is not easy to do. So they're sailing with a crew of two, the skipper and a forward crew person. And these are probably teenagers, 14, 16 years old, in that range. We'll just watch them sailing toward us here for a little bit. Meanwhile, the Optimum fleet is sailing around the marks. They're sailing, basically the whole fleet is sailing upwind right now. So they're tacking starboard tack, then port tack, starboard tack, port tack, whatever number it takes to get upwind around the upwind mark, windward mark. These kids can probably sail these boats pointing up maybe as high as 40 degrees off the wind, 35, 40 degrees. All right, I'm looking right into the sun right now, folks, so it's tough to see any comments coming in, but we'll just watch the spinnakers of the fleet. I think this class is 420s. I believe that's what this boat is known as. I know Moriches Yacht Club has several of them for lessons. Pretty stable boat for young people, teenagers, and with that weight, you have to consider the weight that you're carrying in the boat for balancing the boat. Sailing it flat. Now let's see what they do as they come right for us here. Some have already dropped their spinnakers. Okay, they're dropping their spinnaker now as they're going around the mark, and then they're going to head upwind again. So what you do is you get to this leeward mark, downwind mark, lower your spinnaker, drop your centerboard, so that as you start upwind again, this boat doesn't slide to the side, right? And it gets interesting where they have to cross the upwind leg now. The kids have to cross the downwind boats But again, the rule of the water is whoever is on starboard, in other words, the wind coming over the starboard side of the boat, the starboard deck, right side, they have the right of way. So anyone who's on a so-called port run, port tack, they're supposed to yield. And that's with the wind coming over the left side of the boat or the port side. But they know how to handle it. They practice many a time here in their lessons of racing against each other and racing in crowded conditions. So that's the fleet of the bigger kids, mostly teenagers. And here's the little fleet over here of the optimums, of the younger children. They're coming downwind again now. I wonder if that's the final run to the finish line or whether they have them go around twice. These are single-handed sailing, one person in the boat. Although sometimes in the early stages of their training and everything, and they're really young kids, they do put two people in these boats, but you know, you're talking about 8-year-olds, and how much weight can that be with two 8-year-olds in there? But for the most part, they're a single crew, single-handed sailing. I think this one is coming into the finish line here, so let's just stay over here and see what happens if we hear the horn sound. Sure. There you go. That young person just won that race. Downwind. Okay, so they set the course out for the little kids for a racetrack. Upwind, downwind, upwind, downwind, and the downwind final leg is the finishing leg. And here comes the rest of the fleet now spread out, coming across. So that's probably just the first race of quite a few they'll have this afternoon for the kids in this invitational regatta here at Moriches Yacht Club on Moriches Bay. I think they were also sailing this morning, so they may have stopped for a lunch break and then resumed racing here this afternoon. There's the other fleet out in the distance heading upwind again. I'll just pan around here a little bit and show you a little bit of the area. This is the Moriches Yacht Club Marina, and you see often on the land over there by the clubhouse there's this big orange hippity hops. So they must have had a third course set up earlier today, but they took those out of the water, so they're back up on land again. Okay, good people, thanks for joining me. That's just a short view of what's going on here today, Thursday, July 27th, here on Moriches Bay on eastern Long Island. For those of you who are not sure where we are, we're about 65 miles east of New York City on the south shore of Long Island, New York, Suffolk County. Alright, so the fleet now is just hanging around the start line, waiting for the final 4 boats to come downwind and cross the finish line, 4 or 5 boats. And then the committee boat will sound the assembly sound for starting a second race. What you'll hear in a few minutes is the horn going beep, 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 beep. So that's okay, folks, get ready for the start of the next race. And they usually do what they call a 3-minute dinghy start. So the horn will sound at 3 minutes, beep, beep, beep. Sound at 2 minutes, beep, beep. 90 seconds, beep, 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 beep. 1 minute beep, and then a 30-second 3 beep, beep, beep. 20, 10, and then they do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. That's called a dinghy start. Alright, final boats are crossing the finish line, and we'll just stay for a minute. We'll see if we hear the call for assembly for the second race. Well, the second race since I've been here. They may have raced this morning. Okay, hear that? That's the horn sounding, saying, okay kids, get ready for a new start for the second race. And then everybody will start jockeying for position to be at the start line as you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so we'll watch the start of this race before we end the broadcast. Looks like we have some parents out here who may have towed their children down here, towed their children in the sailboats. You see the people in the power boats. So some kids are hanging out with those power boats. And I'm sure like West Hampton, they, which is not that far away, they towed a fleet down here. Alright, 3 minutes. Beep, beep, beep. 3 minutes to start. So let's just concentrate on this Optimum crew over there, Optimum fleet. See, everybody has a life jacket on, so you don't sail without your life jacket on. And they're experienced sailors out there. They know what they're doing. Nobody's going to get into trouble with these winds right now. As I say, it's about 10 mile an hour, maybe 12 tops. I don't see white caps. Two minutes. The idea is to be at the start line 90 seconds, be at the start line at the optimum time with your opti, just as you know, he counts down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the most advantageous point is to be the furthest upwind. In other words, the furthest, the closest to the rear of the committee boat, because you'll pick up the favorable wind there, and the people 1 minute, and then the people to downwind of you may be in your wind shadow, so you're stealing some of the wind from the boats to your left or to port. Look at the kids getting together here. This is neat to see without collisions. You cross the line early, you'll be disqualified. 30 seconds. If you cross the line early, you have to dip down below the line and recross it. 20 seconds. Look at them all positioning themselves there, right there at the 10, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. And there they go for the start of the second race. Sailing upwind now. So most of them are on a starboard tack right now, although one or two boats are switching over to a port tack. You try to gain the advantage, obviously, of being in the lead, but also if you're in a wind shadow, then you get out of that and sail off the other direction where you have clear air. For instance, this one little boat that's crossing in front of us now is on a port tack, but he's in clear air, he or she. And you figure out in the racing here which is the better way to tack as far as the wind direction. Try to gain the advantage of the lead. Okay, they both, two of the three boats here then went back to a starboard tack. There goes the third one now. If you can get up to that windward mark, upwind mark, and first and round that mark, and maintain the lead at that point, then downwind, get that sail out, you'd be ahead of the pack. Alright, so that was the start for the Optis for the second race. Let's see what's going on over here with what I think is the 420s, 420 fleet. So most of them have crossed the finish line, and they're waiting for the final boats to finish the race, and then they will be assembled for the next race. Okay, good people. I'd like to hang out here longer, but unfortunately I can't, so thank you for all the comments. Hello.